Hello and welcome to AP Biology. Congratulations if you are watching this video. That means you've figured out how to use Edpuzzle. The purpose of this video is for me to just give you a little bit of information about me, a little bit of information about the class, and for you to get used to using Edpuzzle and seeing the questions pop up as you go. So what you'll notice about this video is that you cannot fast forward it. So it's kind of like as if you're listening to a lecture, you wouldn't be able to fast forward what I was doing or what I was saying. You'll also notice that at any given time a random question will pop up, and that question will will always be about what I am talking about in the lecture to make sure you're paying attention. So the credit that you get for watching a lecture, because it's always going to be a grade, is for watching it in its entirety and completing it, pushing the complete button at the end, and answering the questions correctly to show understanding and that you are watching the video entirely. All right, so welcome to AP Biology. This is my contact information. You can email me anytime that you need to. This is the best way to get a hold of me for this class, and it's on my syllabus as well. AP Biology is an amazing course with opportunities to get a glimpse at college-level biology content, labs, and research. You're about to embark upon one of the most rewarding and challenging courses of your high school career. Since this is distance learning, while we are in the red phase, the lab and the research component will have to be sort of put on hold. And the reason for that is the research that we do, I am not able to send home materials for that. And a lot of the labs we do, there are not enough materials for everyone. Once we transition into the yellow phase and we have some students on campus and some students at home, what I'll do is have you guys partner up and partner up, one person on campus, one person off campus, and you guys will be able to work together while the person on campus is using that specialized equipment. So to say that this is going to be a challenging year is an understatement. I'm hoping that you see that AP Biology will still be interesting. I'm still going to try to give you the best of this class that I possibly can at a distance, but that it is going to be different than it was last year when we were on campus. And then you will see it is different whenever we transition back to campus. Either way, though, it is a very interesting class, and I'm going to try to be very, very thoughtful in what I assign to you to do at home so that you can get the most out of distance learning. The expectations are outlined in your syllabus. So you will need to read through the syllabus and push turn in. That's acknowledging that you've read through it and that you agree to the terms of the syllabus and the class. You need to show up to class and to Zoom, whichever one we're doing that day, on time. Turn in work on time. Have a good work ethic. Be honest. I capitalize that one because that's the one that's my pet peeve, is dishonesty. So make sure you're honest, respectful, treat this class as a priority, and treat this class as an AP class. AP stands for Advanced Placement. So an advanced placement class is going to have a much higher rigor than an on-level or regular class. It's going to have a higher rigor than an honors class. And so I just want everyone to be prepared that this is not an on-level regular class. It is AP, and it will carry an AP workload, and it will carry AP quiz and test questions. And you'll see those as we move along. The platforms that we are going to use are Microsoft Teams is our main platform. This is where all of your assignments will be posted. This is where your due dates and times will be posted, and that's very important to pay attention to, are those due times, because sometimes you'll have work that's due right at the end of class. Sometimes I'll give you until later on in the night to finish something up. I will never assign an assignment for homework. What that means is I'll never give you an assignment at the end of class and say, this is to be completed for homework. Anytime you have homework, it will be to finish something that we already spent at least 30 or 45 minutes doing in class. I can't promise that everyone's going to finish their assignments by the end of class. Some people will take a little longer than others. Some people will always have it done by the end of class. I mean, it ranges just depending on the student, depending on how thorough they are, and depending on their understanding of what we're doing. So everything you'll find in Microsoft Teams, and I want to just reiterate, pay attention to those due times that you see in Microsoft Teams so you don't incur a late penalty. You turn in work to Microsoft Teams. So even if you do something on Padlet, I'd still need you to go to Teams and say that you completed that assignment. So right now you're doing an assignment on Edpuzzle. Even when you're done with this, I still need you to go to Teams and check it off your list. And you're going to want it off of your list, and especially for those of you with type A personality, you're going to want to have all of those things off of your to-do list, because it's very satisfying to see the empty screen and it'll tell you, you have nothing left to do. You'll see it. You're going to want that every day. I use Microsoft Teams with both of my summer classes. I taught a 3-week anatomy course and a 3-week cell biology course, and it worked perfectly. There were no issues. There just weren't. I can give you feedback on your assignments. I can maybe send something to you and say, hey, you turned this in really early. I want to give you an opportunity to correct number 5. Can you go back and correct number 5 and send it back to me? Something like that. So that's the perk of turning things in early, is that I actually might be able to give you feedback and let you correct it before points get counted off. I will communicate your grades and anything that there's points taken off of through Teams. I will post your grades in Veracross too, because I have to, and that's where you see your averages. And then you'll see links to other platforms that we use. So that is the first thing that you ever check, is Microsoft Teams. That is where your checklist is, your to-do list, all your links, everything's there. Edpuzzle is where you're going to get your lectures and questions for every class. So you're using that right now. So you're doing pretty good so far if you've made it to this point. Socrative. Some people like to pronounce it Socrative. I actually like to pronounce it Socrative, but people are always correcting me. Socrative is where you'll have quizzes and tests, and you will have a quiz or a test once a week, every week. Quizzes are 10 multiple choice questions. The thing about the Socrative quizzes is that and tests, you will take them while you are on Zoom. You will have a unique set of questions. You will get one question at a time. Once you answer a question, you can't go back to a question. Regardless of how anyone feels about that, that's the best way that I can deter cheating and make things fair and equitable for everybody. So quizzes will be 10 multiple choice questions. Tests will be 25 multiple choice questions and 1 FRQ. And so I will communicate that to you. You'll see it posted in Veracross well in advance of when those are going to be. And we will always review before quizzes and tests. That doesn't mean don't study for them. That just means we're not just going to get on Zoom and be like, all right, sign into the quiz and take it right now. I'm going to review. I'm going to take questions. That's not study time. That's just ask questions from what you studied the night before. You definitely want to make sure you keep up with the material and study every night, because even though this is distance learning, I have figured out a way to do quizzes and tests that does hold students accountable for learning the information. And you'll find out pretty quickly here in the first 2 weeks whether or not you may have taken on a little bit more than you can handle, or you may want to minimize your schedule, whether it's dropping AP Bio or dropping another AP class. You'll get that figured out pretty quickly in these first 2 weeks. Padlet is something we're going to use. This is where we're going to use it once a week to do reflection forums, and it's never going to be anything super difficult. Today, you're going to practice using Padlet. You're practicing everything today except for the Socrative, and we're not doing a quiz or a test today. Today, you're just going to go to Padlet, you're going to post a picture of one of your pets, and you're going to talk about your pet, and then you're going to go comment on 2 other people's posts. And so that's just to give you practice. Google Drive or OneNote, that's your choice for collaboration. We'll sometimes use that, especially when we're doing lab reports and we are in the hybrid learning phase, the yellow phase. You're gonna need to pick whichever one you want to use with your lab partner. Adobe Spark, we might use that like once or twice this year, but just wanted to put it out there. And then Veracross is where your grade averages in gradebook. Make sure, though, you do not assume everything's due at midnight. So I just kind of want to reiterate that due times are communicated through Teams, not Veracross. It's your choice to look at Veracross. You won't ever have to look at it if you don't want to, because I will communicate everything through Teams. Teams does not calculate your average, though. That's the only thing. It's just a little bit of information about me for those that don't know me. I'm from Houston, Texas. I graduated from St. Agnes Academy, so it's an all-girls private school, real nice private school, similar to St. Mary's Hall. I did my graduate work. I got a doctorate degree in pharmacy from the University of Texas at Austin, and I graduated from there in 2009. I worked in various healthcare internships, various hospitals, the ICU. I worked in the VA psychiatric unit. I worked a lot of retail pharmacy, CVS, Walgreens, Independence. I was a poison information specialist up in Dallas, and I was a poison educator for a while. But I got married. My husband's name is Justin, and I had a kid, and this is where everyone's always like, oh, look at his ears. They're so cute. Anyone that knows Jacob, he's such a little turkey. So this is Jacob. He is 8 years old. He's in Form 3 at St. Mary's Hall. And when I had him, I decided to become a teacher because of the schedule. I thought the schedule was a lot better for teaching, and it was supposed to just be temporary. I taught chemistry, biology, pre-AP chemistry, and AP biology. And I really fell in love with teaching. And the words of wisdom I can give you is, do what you love, the money will follow. And then me in June 2014, I thought having a child was so great. Let's try for one more. And then we ended up with twin girls. And so these are my children. This is Jacob, this is JC, this is Jolie. Jacob's 8 and the girls are 5. Jacob is still at St. Mary's Hall. The girls, though, we had to pull them out because I can't have all 3 of them at home with me. So I do have my girls up the street at a preschool. He's drinking Dr. Pepper out of that glass. Anyways, they're super fun. They're super cute. They're really wild, though. So I'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. So on Microsoft Teams, you have a questionnaire to fill out. These are your assignments today. Today is really light. We're not getting into any content. I just want you to get used to using our different platforms. So Edpuzzle, Teams, Padlet, and then the Microsoft Forms, which is on Teams. So what you can expect from me is that you'll always know what we're going to be doing and when we're going to be doing it. So I'm very organized. I have Veracross usually updated 2 entire weeks in advance. If I'm having an off week, I may just only have that week, but typically it's going to be at least 10 days in advance. And I will communicate any changes very clearly. Grades will be posted very soon. I grade very, very fast because I don't like having things on my to-do list. I am fair, I am reasonable, but I am going to provide a learning atmosphere that is challenging. So I will hold you to a certain standard that I know that you can meet. And so the learning atmosphere is challenging, but my goal is to always make it interesting and enjoyable for students. Not every second, every moment is going to be a great party time. But when I do pick assignments, I think, okay, what are they going to get out of this? Besides that College Board is like making me teach you certain things, I do try to make it relevant to your life. I will be supportive and I will be helpful as long as I'm met halfway. And meeting me halfway means, suiting up and showing up, that little saying, communicating with me, and being honest. Being honest and having a good work ethic. That's where that can get you really far in this class. I'm not going to read through every single one of these topics, but these are the topics that we will study. All of these things that you see on the left side are things that you did during cell biology. And then on the right side, you're going to see a bunch of new stuff. So the stuff you did in cell biology, we're going to go back over all of that stuff, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into each one. We get to do a lot of biotechnology, which when we get back on campus, gosh, I'm going to have to decide which thing I'm going to want to do first, but biotechnology is one of those things we'll have to do on campus. We do a little bit of anatomy, and then we do a lot of evolution and ecology at the end. And then AP Biology College Board just has these 4 big ideas, and what I want you to see is that our main big ideas are evolution, energy, storage, retrieval, and transmittance of information, like cell communication, communication between organisms, and then the interactions of biological systems. So those are the big overarching themes. What you will need for this class are supplies, pen and pencils. You'll need neon chalk markers later to write on the tables. You don't need those now. It's optional to have note cards to make flashcards, but that's usually a good idea for a class that's so vocabulary heavy. So you not only need to memorize vocabulary for this class, there's a lot of understanding and application. So when I ask you a question on a test, most likely it's not going to be, here's a definition, pick the word. That's not how this class goes. And this class is controlled by College Board. And so I don't even write my own question. I have a special test bank on the College Board website that I have accessed, and that's what you're going to get. You need the Biology in Focus textbook, which you should have gotten already, your AP test prep book, and then a spiral notebook just in case I say, hey, grab a piece of paper, I need you to write this down, or something like that. All right? Let me know if you have any questions about those supplies. And so I want to make sure that I make it really clear that this class is not just one credit and it's not just one class, it is 2 classes. This is a lecture class and this is a lab class. So when a student comes to me and says, my AP stats teacher isn't giving me as much work, we're not doing as much in that class as we do in this class, I would say yes, because your AP stats class is only 1 credit. This gets you 1.5 credits. So we have 1 class and then a half of a class, technically. With the block schedule, I just want to make sure you guys know this, with the block schedule, because of how much time has gotten slashed from all of our classes, you actually are supposed to have 2 lectures and 2 labs. Neither of those labs is actually designated as an off period. But I'll talk about that in just a second before you get all bent out of shape right now. Just hold on. So your lecture period is dedicated to lecture, quiz, test, review, and practice FRQs. The lab period is for exploration of content, extension of knowledge, data analysis, and College Board lab content. During distance learning, this will be accomplished virtually the first 3 weeks until further notice. So we will not be doing wet labs the first 3 weeks of class until I can get figured out what I'm going to require of students for wet labs and how you're going to get those materials. Just because you have a lecture period doesn't mean that whole period is just lecture. Just because you have a lab period doesn't mean we're doing labs the whole time. It's intertwined, and I try to make a really nice mix of all of it. Like I had said before, with the block schedule, you have 2 lecture periods and 2 lab periods with no designated off period because of how much time is allotted for passing lunch and after school. However, here's that thing I was talking about. Most of the time, one of your lab periods will be given to you each week to catch up for this class. And once you get caught up for this class, other classes. Okay, so I just want to make sure you know that I'm still going to try to honor that desire to have one of the lab periods as an off period, but that when we are on campus, you're in my classroom during that time, and that is a designated AP biology class. So just want you to keep that in mind, that I'm typically going to give you that 90 minutes off, but that it is for my class, and at any given time, if it seems like students are really struggling or there's complaints that you can't get work done, I'll say, okay, well then let's go ahead and designate that lab period for this class now. Let's go ahead and meet on Zoom, and let's go ahead and get caught up on work during that time and have it more structured. I doubt I'm going to have to do that though. Okay, virtual learning and labs during the red phase. So virtual learning exploration serves the purpose of accomplishing objectives of labs. So this is kind of my justification for what I'm doing. A lab doesn't mean that you are working with, baking soda and vinegar and doing something with your hands. Lab time also means that labs can be virtual. You can do virtual manipulations. You can design experiments, collect data, make graphs, form hypotheses and conclusions, read studies and critique experiment design, analyze graphs, make graphs. I think I already said that, but I said it again. It's important. Watch lab videos, which I know that sucks, but that may be what we have to resort to every once in a while. And then writing lab reports, okay? So this is what lab is during the red phase during the first 3 weeks. During the hybrid yellow phase, we will do wet labs. You're not going to come sit in my classroom and just do virtual labs. I'm going to give you the best experience you can, and you're going to bring along with you, in a sense, the person who is at home. You're going to bring them into your experience. And I, of course, will be teaching to both groups, but you are students in class and students out of class will be sharing that experience together. Okay, and then students at home, sometimes I will be able to give you, have you come pick up lab supplies. All right, so here are our class meeting times. This is when we will actually meet at the very beginning of class on Zoom. My Zoom meetings are usually 20 minutes, unless there's a quiz or a test, and then we do a 30-minute Zoom where we review and then we do practice FRQs. So first and second period, I meet with you Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, second period lab can be used to finish classwork. Third and fourth period, I meet with you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Thursday, fourth period lab can be used to finish work. And then sixth and seventh period, I meet with you Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Friday, seventh period lab can be used to finish classwork. All right, retakes and late grades, there are no quiz retakes. Points are deducted for late work, refer to the syllabus. If you need a test retake, it needs to be done within 5 school days, and I'll give you up to a score of an 80. And that's just my personal preference. If someone has to retake a test, I don't think they should get anything over an 80. That's just my personal preference. So if you want to talk about that further, I'm happy to do that. I always have students like, well, Miss Brown used to let us do it, or Miss Vidal lets us do it to 100. Great, good for them. I'm so glad they're that nice. I've been burned by that before, and I don't want to get burned by that anymore. So it's an 80. It's not going to be anything higher than that. For this class, organization is key. I know distance learning is difficult. I know sitting at home tends to slow students down. Makes it less likely that you are going to be motivated to get on your laptop. So organization is going to be the key to success for this class. Wake up, get dressed, go to school. I'm doing air quotes, go to school. Get the work. So I'm going to have something will always be due at the end. So usually your lecture, your 20-minute lecture will be due at the end of the class period, and then your activity will be due by midnight. Don't wait until 11 p.m. to do that activity. It's the students that turn things in at 11:45, 11:50, where the work is just subpar and it doesn't look good, and those are always the students that are struggling in the class. Get work done by 3 p.m., get it done by the end of the day. That should be your goal. And if you don't get it done by 3 p.m., you should only have about 10 or 15 minutes left to do for homework. If you really have a sense of urgency while you're doing work in my class, you shouldn't have very much homework at all. All right, and then reserve your naps for after 3 p.m. Trust me, I know the struggle with that. I know the struggle with that. Just reserve them for after 3 p.m. when you get all your classwork done. And then the last thing that I want to go over is these are the signs that I will look for students that are struggling that will require intervention. And of course, I'm not going to call like a big old meeting with everyone, but my first intervention will just be an email. Hey, I'm noticing that you're turning work in at 11:59 p.m. and it just doesn't seem complete. Do you think we should maybe meet and talk about time management? Not at a workspace on Zoom, so laying in bed, that's a no-no. We're not doing that. Cameras off, cameras need to be on. Late to Zoom calls is a big red flag. Missing Zoom calls, frequent issues for why work is not done, frequent Wi-Fi issues. Wi-Fi issues can be a good excuse, but when there's too much of that, then I do have to, sorry, my alarm just went off. I do have to get involved. Any signs of academic dishonesty, I can pretty much pinpoint that pretty quickly if students are working together. I usually will know when students are working together, and then I kind of zone in on that. Do not copy and paste because I do look for that. I don't like that. And then low quiz or test grades are a red flag. And this doesn't mean like you're going to be in big trouble. This is just, if any of these things are happening, just expect an email from me and expect if it doesn't get better, then we will have a face-to-face on Zoom. And then if it still doesn't get better, I do have to get parents involved. All right, so I want to end on a positive note. I'll put the picture of bees because the bees are kind of what made this class famous, I think, to begin with. And it's something that last year students didn't get to do. But I do have hope that we will be on campus in time to do the bees, and I do have hope that we will make it to the other side of this, and how beautiful and sweet is that going to be when we're all or most of us. I think the energy will even change when just half of students are back on campus, and so we will make it to the other side of this as long as we have a good attitude and you communicate with me well, and you know, we just keep a positive mindset. All right, and with that, I have finished in under 25 minutes. That's always my goal. So I will talk to you guys later.